right, guys, we're back with another edition of Talking Preps Basketball. Let's get right to it, guys. We got a busy episode. We got Rick text earlier when I found the schedule. He was just so excited about this week of boys basketball. Let's talk Tuesday and Friday. But before I get you guys jumping, I want to start with Coach Mitchell. Coach Mitchell, we talk a lot about Charlotte basketball, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the North Piedmont 3A. I see West Rowan, Carson, and East Rowan all look like they're going to have 20-win seasons, and they're all looking like they're going to beat each other up, similar to what you guys do in Charlotte. Is that one of the best leagues around?
It looks like it. West Rowan and Carson are tied right now for first with 5-1 in the conference. East Rowan's only one game behind them at 4-2. It's a small world. West Rowan, 5'11" senior Abigail Wilson, who is a UNC Asheville commit, averaging about 26 points, 12 rebounds a game. Actually, back in my day playing at North Rowan, I played against her mom, who was a beast as well, Wendy Hampton, who went to Florida State. So it's a small world.
Yeah, Abigail got a 2,000 points.
Yeah, 2,000 points. I think she's the leading scorer, all-time leading scorer at West Rowan now. But looking at Carson, I mean, Abigail's pretty much just dominating for West Rowan. Looking at Carson, they're more of an even attack. They have 4 players almost in double figures. Colby Perry with about 10 points, Ellie Wilhelm with 11, Carly Perry with about 9 points, and then Macy Cooper also with 10 points. So they're more of a balanced attack, where West Rowan has just got, they've got some players with Abigail, but she's beasting right now.
Got a really big game on Tuesday. East Rowan 4-2 in the conference, playing Carson 5-1. Carson's tied with West Rowan. That's just going to be a shootout. I'm kind of looking forward to see how those teams do in the playoffs, because at least in conference play, they're kind of striking me as teams that could challenge for a state at least a state championship appearance.
I agree.
All right, tell me about what's going on in Charlotte on Tuesday. I see one big game, Independence at Butler. What do you think about that one?
Myers Park, Butler are right now 9-1 in the conference. Butler was able to get one by Myers Park last week to give them the tie for first. Indy's one game behind them at 8-2. It's tough because right now, I mean, that conference is still loaded. Even whenever you look at, what teams they have left to play, none of them have, the easiest road to get, to finish off the conference. So right now, I'm not really sure. I'm probably, if I was going to predict, I'm probably going to say Myers Park is going to pull it out.
We said that last week, Randall and Christy. But Randall, we said that last week that Myers Park was going to run away and hide, and then Myers Park lost to Butler. Is Butler back? Are they the team, Randall, that we thought they would be all along, sitting here at 13-7, 9-1 in the conference?
They have certainly gotten better. I think they learned how to play without Michaela Funderburk. Ashlyn Dotson's been playing really well and starting to shoot the ball back like she did, last season. And so I think they figured it out, and they started to put it together to where it made this conference very, very interesting coming down the stretch.
Who's going to win?
I'm sticking with Myers Park. I said Myers Park was going to win it, so I'm not going to back off that. I still think they're going to win it, but they're going to have to really work now. They kind of put themselves in a tough spot.
Yeah, Coach Mitchell. Last week you talked about Providence. You got a chance to see Providence up close and personal. Is Providence a team that can really make a legitimate state championship run?
I think they definitely have some key pieces. Nyla McGill is an incredible point guard. I mean, she can score it, and she just loves to just create for others. We had a really hard time. We were trying to stop her from getting to the paint, because once she gets to the paint and we got to help the helper, then she gets it off to one of the girls down low, and they're scoring easy. It was really a struggle for us. We were tied up at halftime, and third quarter looked good, and they just ran away from it. Fourth quarter, we couldn't make a shot, and they made all theirs. And they just play tough. They play hard for 32 minutes a game. There was never a time, there was never a period in the game where you saw, them not get back on defense or them not doing anything in transition. So I think they're a pretty good contender.
Do your homework, Coach, because you're probably going to see them Friday after next.
Probably so.
Conference championship.
I predict that in all three conferences in Charlotte, the conference champion is probably not going to be the conference tournament champion.
Ooh,
there's a lot of
parity.
Yeah, You can't beat a team 3 times. It's not easy to beat a team 3 times.
Oh, watch out, Providence. You heard that. She threw down the gauntlet. Coach Lewis, I know you're excited, chomping at the bit to talk about a big week of Charlotte boys basketball. Let's just start with Tuesday night. We got like 4 huge games: Clough at North Mac, Ardrey at Olympic, Independence at Butler, Myers Park at Hickory Ridge. Where do you start, Coach?
Well, first of all, you have Huff going against North Mac. The very first time they played each other, it was a very close game. It was at Huff. Huff is 7-3 in the conference. Of course, North Mac is 10-0. Now, with the uncertainty of Traden Williams out of the lineup for North Mac, that really throws a monkey wrench into what North Mac does, because, you know, the success of any team is basically dependent upon your point guard play. And he, to me, was one of the most underrated point guards in the state. I know they went to West Charlotte and they beat them pretty easily, but they also played Hopewell last week, and of course they struggled. I mean, they were down by 3 points going into the fourth quarter. They ended up outscoring them 26-15 and ended up with a nice win at the end. But it was a very close game, especially with Hopewell being only 1 game in the conference win column. But the big games for me are 2 games that I think will have conference champions implications, and that will be Ardrey at Olympic on Tuesday night. Both of them are very similar as far as record. Ardrey 16-5, 7-2 in the conference, whereas Olympic is 15-5 and 7-2. Olympic lost the first game at Ardrey. I think this will be Olympic's payback, and Josh Banks is playing at an unbelievable level for Olympic. So that will be a good one. Whoever wins that game will probably win the conference championship in the South Mech 7.
Yeah, Josh Banks just became the all-time leading scorer in Olympic. Not to interrupt you, but Josh Banks just became the all-time leading scorer in Olympic history. I think that's important to note. I think he's just having just a phenomenal year. He's trying to end the at least the Mecklenburg County Player of the Year race pretty early. Go ahead, Coach. Independence at Butler, Myers Park, Hickory Ridge.
Well, the Independence at Butler game is going to be interesting because Independence is sitting there at 8-2. There's a 3-way tie for first place in the Southwestern 4A. You got Indy, Myers Park, and Hickory Ridge all sitting at 8-2 in the conference. Remember at the beginning of the year, I mentioned my surprise team was going to be Hickory Ridge.
Hickory Ridge, yes.
And you know what? They're young. The game, I think, is the marquee, and I think the one I'm going to see Tuesday night will be Myers Park versus Hickory Ridge. I think whoever wins that game should be the clear front runner to win that conference, because Hickory Ridge after that has Butler on the road, East Meck at home, and I think Porter Ridge at home. So their schedule is a little bit favorable to them, whereas Myers Park has to go to Indy for the last game of the season.
Randall, which Myers Park is going to show up? Is the Myers Park we saw early in the season when they beat the defending state champions, or the Myers Park that kind of hit a swoon in the middle? Or is it the Myers Park that's kind of starting to get it together now?
They're going to be ready Tuesday night. I can tell you for a fact that they feel like the first time they played Hickory Ridge, they let one get away. Not that Hickory Ridge didn't win that ball game, but they feel like they didn't play well, and they're going to try to make up for that come Tuesday night.
Okay. Christy, let's go back to the girls' side, because on Friday we have a couple more big games. Tell us about those.
North Meck at Mallard Creek. Again, Vance, Mallard Creek, and North Meck all sitting up there at the top of the conference. That's going to be a toss-up right there. North Meck has to face Mallard Creek and Vance. They got Vance next week. So North Meck, I think, has the toughest road the next 2 weeks before we end up the regular season. North with Jessica Timmons averaging 26 points a game. She's unstoppable. And Vance, again, has a more balanced attack with Samaya Suffering at 14 points, Neve Brown, 13 points, Lauren Walker with 11 points, and Kennedy Simpson with 9. So I think that's going to be a really good game. It's going to be, right now all 3 of them are 8-2. You got 3 and 4 games left to finish it out, and right now it's anybody's game.
That's a crazy race. And then the
strongest.
Yeah, then Butler and Hickory Ridge. Butler's in first place, Tower Myers Park. Is this a potential stub your toe game against a well-coached Hickory Ridge team?
Yeah. I think that Hickory Ridge definitely can, end up putting a little hiccup in in that conference standing as well. I think they're right now, I think they're 4th behind the other 3 teams. But you can't ever count them out as well.
No, they've been a previous conference champion, and they got a great coach, Talana Rose Simmons, and they'll be, pretty pumped up at home to try to knock off a Butler team, which seems to be Peaking right now. Randall, any thoughts on that game, Butler Hickory Ridge on Friday?
I think like you said, Butler seems to be peaking right now. So it's going to be a marquee game on the slate. I'll be interested to see how they do going on the road, hostile environment, and what they can do.
Randall, stay there. The same game, Butler boys and Hickory Ridge boys. Tell me about that game. That could be for first place on Friday night.
That could be for first place, and you know, it's the same as we talk about. They got the big 7-footer in the middle, Patrick Wessler, and it depends on how they're going to try to guard him. You know, he does a great job in that mid post to elbow area, and really, you know, I know you can double him, but if you play him one-on-one straight up in the post, it's going to be a long night for people.
Rick, how do you think is the best way to try to guard Patrick Wessler and Butler if you're Hickory Ridge? You seem to like Hickory Ridge quite a bit.
I do, but also I'm a big Patrick Wessler fan. You know, 7 foot, he has great hands. The other thing, too, is he's averaging a double-doubles, almost 17 points a game, 11 rebounds. He's blocking about 3 shots a game. He's the type of guy that's very hard to defend because he has the ability to step out and hit the three-pointer. So he creates some missions. If you go out on the perimeter, you know, he can shoot it. He can dog it up. There's get put on the interior. If you front him, they can pass over. If you play behind him, he can jump over. They just use a little jump hook over the defender.
So he has a myriad of ways to hurt you. Randall, that's another potential game we could have on Friday night, the Metro Carolina Conference Championship game. Northside Christian could be playing First Assembly. You think that will happen? And if it happens, what can we expect?
I think it will happen. I've only seen First Assembly one time this year, but boy, oh boy, was I impressed. They're big, strong, physical. They do a great job of executing to a finish. And, you know, I know Trey is left-handed. And you know, people always say he can't go right. But if I can go left and nobody can stop me left, I don't have to go right.
We're talking about Trey Benham, the senior shooting guard for First Assembly. Had about a run of 5 or 6 straight 20-point games. Had a phenomenal season. Guys, I get this question a lot. It came up on Twitter again. Paul B. and Cardi put it out. Want to get your guys' thoughts. Do we need a shot clock in North Carolina, Christy? You're a coach. Do we need one?
You know, I say yes, and I also can see some negatives to that. I definitely think that it helps prepare those kids for the next level. I mean, it's confusing when you get in there to be a freshman and all of a sudden you have, you know, a shot clock. And I can see big games. I know Rick uses a shot clock here in some of his tournaments, and I really like that. But I think in some of the weaker teams, I think it would actually be worse for them. Mm-hmm. So if you're playing a team that's already, you know, one of the, you know, those weaker teams in the league, or, you know, it's a 20-point game or 30-point game, and now you're rushing them to try to get a shot off. Sometimes, you know, I just think that it would be ugly for maybe girls basketball, maybe not so much in boys, but girls basketball. Some of the weaker teams are really good, that are already struggling, or are really going to struggle when they have 30 seconds or whatever you want to put for high school, 30-second shot clock. Then that's going to be tough. Right. But I do like it for your more competitive games and your more competitive teams. I think that it, you know, can't hold the ball at the end of the game. Be a little bit different.
Coach Lewis, I know you're a big proponent of the shot clock, as you know I am as well, but I wanted to throw something out at you. The state association will say that we're not here to send kids to college. Most kids don't go to college. This is about the high school experience. We don't have the money to do a shot clock. It's not necessary here. Respond to their concerns.
I can understand and appreciate the concerns they have, because when we went out to get a shot clock for our events, the shot clock cost us around $3,000. So the schools will have to invest in a shot clock, which will be $3,000 minimum. In addition, they're going to have someone to manage the shot clock as well. So there's added costs there to a lot of the high school associations, and especially some of the smaller public schools may not have the funds to either buy the shot clock or have the additional cost of having another sport for run the shot clock for the games. The shot clock, in all honesty, will basically help teams who are better defensively. Now, I'm up here at the Hargrave Military Classic that we're presenting, and we're using a 30-second shot clock because the majority of the teams are prep teams, but there are some high school teams. Now, Jeff McGinnis's team is here with Combine. They have forced more shot clock by any other. It is because their defense is so on the flip side, if you have a shot clock, it will basically help the teams who really stress team defense. Teams will shot clock, and also in all theory, it will help the stronger teams because those are the people don't really need the shot clock as much. It's the teams that are not as strong that need to run their motions. Like you look at like the game against Tuesday night, Huff and North Meck. You've seen both of them. North Meck will never need a shot clock. But on the flip side, Huff is very good. They're very patient. They're going to run their sets. They're going to make you work on defense, and they're going to get a good shot. But it may take 30, 40 seconds before they get that shot off. But they will get it, but they run their execution.
Randall, your thoughts, shot clock or not? What do you think?
We need a shot clock, and I think what it does is it forces kids to learn how to play time and score basketball. And so many times it doesn't matter if I'm at a youth event or watching middle school or high school game, and you're watching the waning moments of a close game, kids just don't understand time and score. And I think if you have to play with a shot clock, that just influences it to where they have to understand what to do late in quarters, late in games, in certain situations.
I remember when I started, they didn't have the 3-point line. We had 3-point line. I remember softball was slow pitch softball. We said we need to go to fast pitch because that's what they play in college. I kind of see this as the same, guys. Honestly, I think that it's time to do a shot clock. I've talked to companies that have helped other states financially adopt a shot clock. When football needed the 30-second scores clock, the play clock rather, they managed to find that. I think there's a way to do it. I just think it makes the game better. I think it's coming. 8 states have it now. More states are talking about adding it. So I think, it's kind of one of those things, you get on the train now, you get on the train later, but I think it's coming. Rick, I interrupted you. You were going to make a point.
No, I agree. I would agree with what Randall said. When we used a 35-second shot clock at the Carmel Tip-Off Classic, we never had any shot clock violations, and we didn't have any the year before. The only time it really comes into play is, A, at the end of a quarter, or B, at the end of the game, where it really forces a team to make a play. And in that part of it, it's really interesting because, it's a really close game. It's a 4-point game. You have the ball and there's a minute left. Well, guess what? You have to make a play at the basket. You got to shoot it. That changes the whole philosophy as far as how you defend that. Do you just let them play good defense and let them take the shot, or you just foul them? Because at the end of the game, if you're behind without a shot clock, the other thing too is it creates more fouls and free throws.
I just have been to way too many games, especially lately, where they're just holding the ball. No offense, Coach Mitchell, in girls' games, just holding the ball. It's like we need something to make them play basketball. But like I said, I think it's going to happen. I just don't know when. Guys, the proposal that we talked about last week with the state association to add a 5A or 6A class, or even potentially put all the teams in playoffs, it failed, and I think it failed pretty miserably. So we're going back to 4A. Coach Mitchell, is that okay with you? Do you think we still need to make a run at trying to do something about this?
I would like to see us make a run at it. Again, we've said it before with, 4A teams that have 1,100 students and 4A teams that have 3,500 students, and they're in the same conference. I think that's not beneficial to either team. It doesn't help out, better teams not saying that the 1,100 kids schools aren't, have good programs as well. But in girls basketball, your smaller schools don't have as many kids. And a lot of times the smaller schools don't field JV teams either. So like this year we've played, my JV team has only played 13 games because we've had so many teams that didn't have JV teams throughout. And it's mainly because they're struggling just to field a varsity team with the number of students that they have. And when a school has 3 times as many students as another school, it's, that's a big discrepancy. I definitely think that we need to do a better job of evening out the classifications a little bit.
No, I think Christy hit it right on the head, and hopefully we can circle back around and figure out a way to make that better.
All right, we're here to 45-second shot clock. And Coach Lewis, it's all you, all by yourself this week. Take it away.
I'm going solo today, right?
That's right.
All right. Young players, if you wish to be part of a team sport for your school, it is important to represent your school in the classroom, also on and off the field. Don't do anything that's detrimental to the school, the community, that you would jeopardize your eligibility to your team or your school, because your team and your school is dependent on you as a teammate. So to all these players out there, make sure you do the right thing in the classroom and off the court.
I want to give a shout out to South Neck boys basketball team that we haven't ever talked about this year. They were 4-8 before Christmas, came back after Christmas 6-1. They made a big run here. I think they're figuring things out. They're third place in the conference. They're not right up there at the top yet, but I just wanted to give them a shout out. They beat AK last week, which was a big upset for them.
Absolutely.
So just want to say, way to go, keep it going.
No, Coach Fisher does a great job with those guys, and they definitely
let me do the same thing. Before I get in trouble. Let me congratulate Cannon on their conference championship, the first one.
And Randall, why would you be congratulating Cannon? Why is that?
I don't want any problems when we get to this state playoff from anybody. You know that they've done a great job. They did it on the first crack on the road, a tough game. Tuesday night at Latin. Congratulations to Jaden Bradley, DJ Nix, Coach Roth. They have proven themselves week in and week out, and that non-conference schedule that we thought would be tough. They are truly battle tested, and they are going to be a force in the state playoff.
Can we be seeing the state championships in Charlotte, Randall? I think they're at Charlotte Latin. So could we be looking at a Greensboro Day Cannon type of final?
I love the parity of that league right now. I love the parity. So
see, that's his way of saying that.
No. But it's the opposite. See, it's not what you think. I'm thinking Cannon's gonna be there. I know Freddie and Greensboro Day. They're gonna be. I know they got a lot of injuries. They got a lot of stuff going on down there in Greensboro. I'm expecting Cannon to be there. I don't know if Greensboro Day is gonna make it that far.
Freddie, Randall, do you hear that?
Randall, I'm gonna say this. It will be Greensboro Day versus Cannon, in my opinion, for the state championship. Don't see any other way around it.
I probably don't either. I think it'll probably be the Grady's versus Cannon as well. Yep.
Well, I'm gonna make sure that Randall sits with me at the semifinals and the finals, so I can hear all the comments. So they're not aimed at me this time; they're aimed at him. But listen, guys, thank you for coming on this week. It's about to get really fun because next week we'll be talking about conference tournaments and playoffs after that. So the fun time's coming in about 4 hours. All right, take care.
Thank you.
See you guys.